My name is Lauren Bishop. I'm 39 years old. At 4:19 on a Tuesday afternoon, I opened my mailbox and found a padded cream envelope addressed to me in handwriting I recognized only because my husband's ex-wife had once signed a Christmas card with the same dramatic loops. Lauren Bishop. Personal. No return address, no note on the outside, just my name, written like an invitation to humiliation. I stood at the end of our driveway with my work tote sliding down my shoulder, the September sun in my eyes, and the uneasy feeling that some women know exactly how to make paper feel dangerous. Inside the envelope were 23 letters. Real letters. Folded. Yellowed at the edges. Some written on college-ruled notebook paper. Some on hotel stationery. Some on expensive cream paper with my husband's handwriting slanted across it in blue ink. My husband, Michael Bishop, had been married once before me. Her name was Vanessa. Vanessa Hale now, though she had been Vanessa Bishop for 9 years. I knew the basics. They met in their 20s, married too fast, fought about money, divorced before I met him. She was beautiful, in the bright, sharpened way of women who never entered a room without checking whether they had been noticed. I had met her only twice, both times at awkward events involving mutual friends, and both times with the same smile from her. Not friendly, not openly hostile. Just the smile of a woman who believed I was living in a house built from her leftovers. I did not open the letters in the driveway. I carried them inside. Set my bag on the kitchen island, took off my shoes, poured a glass of water, then I read the first one, Vanessa. I keep thinking about last weekend. The room, the rain, the way you looked at me like I had already become the man I keep promising I will be. I know things are tight now, but I swear one day I'll give you the kind of life people notice. Big house, long vacations, a closet full of dresses you don't have to check the price tag on. You deserve to be admired, and I want to be the man who makes that happen, Michael. I sat down slowly. Not because I was jealous. That surprised me. The first emotion was not jealousy. It was recognition. Because Michael had said versions of those same things to me. Not in letters, not with the same young man intensity, but in polished sentences over dinner, in open houses, in furniture stores, in conversations where he described our future like a brochure. You deserve a house people remember. Let's book the oceanfront suite. We work hard. Don't worry about the down payment. We'll make it work. We should look successful, Lauren. People treat you differently when they think you belong. At first, I thought that was ambition. Later, I learned it was hunger. There were more letters. Promises. Apologies. Grand declarations. One written after a fight about a credit card. I know I overspent, but I did it because I wanted you to feel special. One written after a vacation they apparently could not afford. The trip mattered because memories matter more than numbers. One written after Vanessa threatened to leave him. If you go, I'll lose the only person who ever believed I could become someone. By letter 11, I understood what Vanessa wanted me to feel. She wanted me to imagine Michael loving her first, wanting her first, promising her the same life he later built with me. She wanted me to sit at my kitchen island under the pendant lights I had chosen, surrounded by the house she probably thought should have been hers, and feel like a substitute wife. Then I found the note, tucked behind the last letter, a small white card. Lauren. Thought you should know the man you live with learned how to love from me. Every room in that house started as a promise to me first. Vanessa. I read it twice. Then I looked around my kitchen. The marble island, the white oak floors, the copper pot rack, the breakfast nook where Michael drank coffee every morning while reading financial news he barely understood. Every room in that house started as a promise to me first. That was almost funny. Because every room in that house had been paid for by me. Not emotionally, not symbolically, actually. Mortgage statements, down payment transfers, renovation invoices, credit card payments, vacation receipts, lifestyle costs. The house Michael used as proof that he had become the man he promised Vanessa he would be was not built from his ambition. It was built from my salary, my savings, my credit score, my budgeting, my late nights, my restraint, and the financial discipline he kept calling anxiety when I refused to pretend appearances were assets. I was a senior claims analyst for a national insurance firm. Not glamorous, not dinner party impressive, but steady, precise, well paid after 15 years of careful work. Michael was a sales consultant whose income rose and fell depending on charm, territory, luck, and whether his confidence had outrun the market that quarter. Some years he did well, some years he did not, but his taste never adjusted downward. The mortgage was in both our names. The down payment came mostly from my premarital savings. The emergency fund came from me. The renovations were paid through my bonus, my home equity line qualification, and my refusal to let contractors begin work without written estimates. The vacations he posted online with captions like "hard work pays off" were booked on cards I paid before interest hit. The tailored suits, the golf club membership, the anniversary dinners, the client entertainment that was not always client entertainment. The lifestyle he used to impress everyone, including his ex-wife, had my fingerprints all over the ledger. I did not cry over Vanessa's letters. I made copies. That is what women like me do when someone tries to turn memory into a weapon. I scanned every letter, every envelope, the note. Then I opened the locked drawer in my home office and pulled out the financial binder Michael called the Anxiety Museum. Mortgage statements, bank transfers, renovation receipts, vacation invoices, credit card summaries, tax returns, loan documents, my down payment wire confirmation. A spreadsheet titled Household Contributions, which I had created 3 years earlier after Michael told his brother at dinner, "I cover the big stuff, and Lauren handles the details." The details. I was the details. The house was the big stuff. I placed Vanessa's note beside the mortgage statement from the month we closed. Then I said out loud to my empty kitchen, "All right." That night, Michael came home late. He walked in at 8:13 carrying takeout sushi and wearing the relaxed smile of a man who had no idea old love letters were sitting beside proof of his financial mythology. "Hey," he said, "long day?" "Yes." He kissed my cheek. I let him, not because I was calm in the way people think calm means unaffected, because I had decided not to spend my anger where it could be denied. He opened the takeout bag. "I got your spicy tuna." "Thank you." He noticed the envelope on the island. "What's that?" "Mail." He glanced at it. Something flickered, just a small shift around the eyes. Recognition. Fear, then charm. "Anything interesting?" I looked at him. "Vanessa sent me your old love letters." The sushi container slipped slightly in his hand. He recovered. "What?" "She mailed 23 letters to the house." He laughed once, too quickly. "Wow, that's weird." "Yes." "She's always been dramatic." Apparently." He leaned against the counter. "Did you read them?" "Yes." His smile tightened. "Lauren, those are ancient history. We were basically kids. You were 31 in several of them. Emotionally kids." I almost smiled. He continued, "I don't know what she's trying to do, but don't let her get in your head." I stood. "She included a note." He swallowed. "What did it say?" I handed it to him. He read it. Every room in that house started as a promise to me first. His face flushed. "She's pathetic." I watched him. That word told me more than I expected. Not cruel ex. Not manipulative. Not, "I'm sorry she dragged you into that." Pathetic. The word men use when a woman still has evidence of a version of them they no longer want examined. I said, "Is it true?" "What? That this house was a promise to her first?" He tossed the card onto the counter. "Lauren, come on." Answer. He rubbed his forehead. "I probably said some stupid things when we were married. You wrote big house, long vacations, price tag free dresses." His eyes narrowed. "You memorized it?" "No, I read it. That was 20 years ago. More like 11. He looked away. I said, "Did you tell her you were going to give her this life?" "I wanted to be successful. That isn't what I asked." He snapped. "What do you want me to say? Yes, I made promises in my first marriage. So what? People grow." I looked around the kitchen. "Yes," I said. "Some people grow. Some people upgrade the sponsor." The room went still. His face changed. "What is that supposed to mean?" I walked to my office, returned with the financial binder, and placed it on the island. Michael stared at it like I had brought a weapon into the room. In a way, I had. Paper. The sharpest quiet thing in a marriage built on performance. "This," I said, opening to the first tab, "is the down payment wire. $118,000 from my premarital savings. This is your contribution. $12,000. This is the mortgage payment history. This column is mine. This column is yours. This is the renovation invoice for the kitchen. Paid from my bonus. This is the Turks and Caicos trip you posted with the caption, 'Hard work pays off.' Paid by my card. This is the golf club membership. Paid out of the joint account the same month you missed your agreed mortgage contribution." He went pale. "Why do you have all this?" "Because someone had to." He looked angry now. Good. Anger was more honest than charm. "You've been keeping score?" "No, Michael. I've been keeping a solvent." He slammed the binder shut. "I am not doing this." I placed my hand on top of it. "You don't have to. But Vanessa does." His eyes snapped to mine. "What does that mean?" I picked up Vanessa's note. "She wanted me to know every room in this house started as a promise to her. I think she should know who actually paid for it." This is that story. Before I tell you how my husband's ex learned that mailing old love letters to humiliate me becomes dangerous when the mortgage statements tell a clearer love story than his handwriting ever did, tell me where you are watching or listening from and what time it is there. I always wonder who hears stories like this while remembering the moment someone tried to make you feel like a replacement in a life you were quietly funding. And if you connect with stories about women who were underestimated, used, betrayed, and quietly took their power back, like and subscribe to Ultimate Revenge. Some women do not fight old love letters with tears. Some women answer with the mortgage statements. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, in a house where money was not abundant, but it was honest. My father, Paul Green, taught high school biology. My mother, Denise, worked in the county clerk's office and could find any document faster than most people could find their glasses. They were not flashy people. They drove cars until the cars personally begged for retirement. They packed lunches. They clipped coupons. They paid bills on Sunday evenings with a calculator, a pot of coffee, and a seriousness I used to find boring. Now I call it love. My mother taught me early that money tells the truth when people do not. Not the whole truth, she would say, sorting envelopes at the kitchen table, but enough to ask better questions. She also taught me never to be ashamed of knowing where things came from: a paycheck, a loan, a gift, a debt, a favor, a promise. Fog is where people hide, she told me when I was 16 and my friend's boyfriend borrowed $40 from 3 girls in 1 week. Keep your numbers clear. I became clear to the point of irritation. I saved receipts, balanced my checking account, read contracts, compared insurance policies for fun. Became the person everyone asked about deductibles, credit scores, and whether extended warranties were scams. When I met Michael at 33, clarity met charm. He was 40, divorced, handsome, funny, and impossibly good at making ordinary evenings feel like scenes worth remembering. We met at a charity wine tasting I attended because my coworker had an extra ticket, and I was trying to be the kind of woman who said yes to things after a long, careful decade of saying no to unnecessary expenses. Michael stood near the silent auction table, pretending to understand the difference between two red wines. I corrected him. He laughed. Most men do not like being corrected by women holding plastic plates of cheese. Michael did. At least he seemed to. You just saved me from pretending Merlot has notes of ambition, he said. That would be Cabernet. He grinned. Dangerous woman. I liked that. I liked him. Our first dates were easy. Too easy, maybe. He chose beautiful restaurants, knew which servers to ask for, remembered my favorite seat near windows, sent flowers to my office, and told stories with his whole face. He talked about his divorce with practiced sadness. Vanessa wanted a life I couldn't give her then, he said. Maybe I failed her. That sounded humble. It was not. It was an audition for sympathy. But I did not know that yet. He told me he had learned from the marriage. Learned not to overpromise. Learned to value partnership over appearances. Learned that love needed financial honesty. That last one got me. Financial honesty was my native language. I told him I did not do financial chaos. He smiled across the table and said, "Good, I need that." I thought he meant he admired stability. Later, I realized he meant he needed someone else to provide it. The symbolic object in this story was my mother's ledger book. Not a fancy family heirloom. A green cloth-bound account book from the office supply store, filled with neat columns in my mother's handwriting. She kept one every year of my childhood. Mortgage, utilities, groceries, savings, gifts, repairs, medical, school, church, emergency. When I moved into my first apartment, she gave me a blank one. "You can use an app if you want," she said, "but write things by hand sometimes. It slows down denial." I still have it, the first one. Now faded. My early adulthood in ink. Rent, student loan, car insurance, groceries, Christmas gift for mom, emergency dentist, savings. Tiny amounts, but mine. The ledger taught me that independence is not a mood, it is a record. When Michael and I got serious, I was open about money, my salary, my savings, my student loans, nearly paid off, my reluctance to merge everything immediately. He admired it. At first. "Lauren, you're so disciplined," he said. "You make me feel safer about the future. I love that you know what you're doing." Then we married. The admiration became reliance. Then expectation. Then irritation whenever my discipline interfered with his appetite. We bought the house 18 months after the wedding. A 4-bedroom colonial in a neighborhood Michael loved because the houses sat far back from the road and every lawn looked professionally intimidated. I wanted something smaller. He wanted a forever home. I said forever homes still needed down payments. He said we were ready. We were not. I was. That is different. He had commissions coming, he said. Deals closing, bonuses likely, momentum. I had actual savings. When the offer was accepted, the numbers became real. Michael was short. Not a little short. Painfully short. He had tax debt from a previous year he had minimized. A credit card balance he called, quote, old Vanessa-era cleanup. A business loan to his brother that had not been repaid and probably never would be. I should have paused the purchase. Instead, I listened to him stand in the empty living room during the inspection and say, "Can you imagine Christmas here?" I could. That was the danger. I used my savings for the bulk of the down payment. We signed an agreement noting my premarital contribution. At my insistence. Michael acted wounded, then reasonable, then grateful. "I get it," he said. You're protecting both of us." No, I was protecting me. I just did not want to say it that plainly yet. The first year in the house was beautiful and expensive. New roof, water heater, paint, furniture, landscaping. A kitchen refresh that became a renovation because Michael said the old cabinets made the house feel less us. Less us. Meaning, less like the life he wanted people to see. He loved hosting. Dinner parties, wine nights, summer barbecues, client cocktails, holiday open house. He would stand in the kitchen, one hand on the marble island, telling stories while guests admired the room. He accepted compliments like a man who had installed the backsplash himself. "Hard work," he would say. I would be loading the dishwasher nearby, wondering whether he meant mine. He posted vacations like proof. Oceanfront suite, wine country, ski lodge, Charleston weekend. He loved captions. "Built a life we love, work hard, rest well. Grateful for this season," people commented. Goals. "You two are living the dream. Michael, teach us your ways." I never commented. I paid the balances. Not always alone. To be fair, Michael contributed when his commissions were strong. He was not unemployed. He was not useless. That would be simpler. He earned. He just spent like future income had already cleared. I kept us stable, he kept us shiny. The imbalance became harder to ignore in year 3. He forgot a mortgage transfer. Then another. He booked a resort weekend after a bad sales month because he said we needed to reconnect. I told him reconnecting did not require a balcony suite. He said, "There's your fear again." Fear. That became his word for my financial clarity. When I said we should rebuild savings, I was afraid. When I questioned a purchase, I was afraid. When I asked about credit cards, I was treating him like a child. When I updated the household spreadsheet, I was making marriage transactional. "You keep score," he said one night after I asked about a $5,000 charge labeled client entertainment. "I keep records." That's the same thing. No, Michael. Scores decide winners. Records show reality. He rolled his eyes. "You sound like your mother." "Thank you." He had not meant it kindly. I took it kindly anyway. Vanessa hovered at the edges for years. Not constantly, just enough. A comment on a mutual friend's post. A birthday message to Michael, visible to everyone. A text he said was about an old tax document, a charity event where she kissed his cheek too close to the corner of his mouth and said to me, "You've done wonders with the house." Wonders. As if I were the caretaker of a museum she still owned emotionally. Michael called her harmless. "Vanessa likes attention." "Vanessa likes access," I said. He laughed. "Jealous?" No. And mostly I was not. I did not want their old marriage. I wanted my current one to stop being crowded by ghosts, debt, and performance. The letters arrived during a season when Michael and I were already strained. The credit card issue had escalated. I had discovered he opened a new card without telling me and used it for what he called business development. Golf trips, dinners, gifts for clients. One jewelry store charge he claimed was for a charity auction donation. I did not believe him. He said I was suspicious. I said suspicion was what happened when transparency failed. We were sleeping in the same bed, but not resting beside each other. Then Vanessa mailed the letters. I think she expected me to confront him wildly, to cry, to demand whether he still loved her, to compare myself, to become the insecure second wife she could pity from a distance. Instead, I opened the binder. The next morning, I emailed Vanessa. Subject: Your envelope. Vanessa: I received the letters and note you mailed to my home. Since your note referred to the house and lifestyle Michael promised you, I thought it would be useful to clarify the financial reality attached to that image. Attached are selected records showing my premarital down payment contribution, mortgage payments, renovation costs, vacation payments, and household expense history. I am not sending these to involve you in my marriage, but to correct the implication that the life you are trying to attach to old promises was created by Michael alone. You wrote that every room in this house started as a promise to you. Perhaps. But every room has been paid for, maintained, and protected by me. Do not send personal materials to my home again, Lauren Bishop. I attached carefully selected documents, not full account numbers, not sensitive details beyond what mattered. Down payment confirmation with numbers partially redacted, but contribution clear. Mortgage payment summary, kitchen renovation invoice. Vacation receipt for the same resort Vanessa had once liked under Michael's old vacation posts. Credit card statement showing my payment. Household contribution spreadsheet summary. Then I hit send. My hands shook afterward. Not before. That is often how courage works. It waits until after the act to collect from your body. Vanessa replied 3 hours later. I did not know. That was all. 3 words. I stared at them for a long time. Then another email came. I believed him when he said he finally became the man he always promised he would be. I thought you were enjoying what he denied me. I didn't know you were funding it. There it was. The story under the cruelty. Vanessa had not sent the letters only to hurt me. She sent them because she thought I had won. The house. The vacations. The polished version. The man who finally performed success. She thought I was living inside the future he had promised her. She did not know I was paying for the stage, I replied. Now you know, she wrote. I'm sorry. I did not answer, not because I rejected the apology, because some apologies need to sit without immediate comfort. Michael found out that evening. Vanessa called him. Of course she did. He stormed into the kitchen while I was chopping onions for soup. What the hell did you send Vanessa? I kept chopping. Mortgage statements. He stared. You sent my ex-wife our financial information? Redacted selected records correcting her false statement. You humiliated me. I looked up. Interesting. That was her plan for me. This is different. Because it worked? He slammed his hand on the counter. You had no right. She mailed your love letters to my house. They were private. Then perhaps you should ask why she had enough confidence in your performance to think they still mattered. He paced once, then turned. You made me look like some kept man. No, Michael, the payments did that. His face went hard. I contributed to this house. Yes. I work. Yes. I'm not some loser you rescued. No. That answer surprised him. Good, I set down the knife. You are not a loser. You are not useless. You are not incapable. That is why this is so exhausting. You could have been an equal partner if you stopped trying to look richer than we are long enough to be honest about where we stand. He looked away. I continued. You let Vanessa believe you built this life. You let friends believe you built this life. You let your brother believe you covered the big stuff. You let me become the details while you stood in the photographs. He whispered, I didn't ask her to send those letters. No, but you built the myth she mailed them from. That landed. He sat down. For the first time, he looked less angry than tired. She always made me feel like I failed. I almost softened. Almost. Then you married me and made me pay for the proof that you hadn't. His eyes filled. Lauren? No, sit with that. He did, for once. The next days were quiet, not peaceful, quiet. Michael slept in the guest room. I met with a financial advisor and then a divorce attorney. Not because I had decided to file immediately. Because information is oxygen. The attorney, Dana Morrison, reviewed the house documents, down payment agreement, mortgage, account records, and credit card history. "You have protected yourself better than most," she said. "My mother taught me. Send her flowers." "I will." Dana explained my options. Postnuptial agreement if we attempted reconciliation. Separation agreement. Asset division. Debt protection. Credit freeze. Account separation. Documentation of premarital contributions. She also said something I wrote down later. A marriage can recover from financial imbalance. It cannot recover from financial theater unless the actor leaves the stage. I went home and told Michael we needed a full financial disclosure. Everything. Cards, loans, accounts, business expenses, taxes, obligations. No summaries. No, "Don't worry about it." No charm. He resisted, then saw my face, then agreed. The truth was worse than I expected, but not catastrophic. That almost made me angrier, because the lies had been unnecessary. He had $38,000 in credit card debt across 2 cards, including the hidden one. He had been covering some minimum payments with balance transfers. He had taken client trips he could not justify and personal trips he called networking. He had bought gifts for clients and for himself. He had loaned money to his brother again without telling me. He had not cheated. I checked. Not because I am proud of that. Because after old love letters arrive in your mailbox, trust becomes a locked room you have to inventory. No affair. No secret apartment. No gambling, no hidden child, just performance. Endless, expensive performance, Michael cried at the dining table. Not prettily, not strategically, actually. "I don't know how to stop needing people to think I made it," he said. I sat across from him with my mother's ledger book open beside me. "That is therapy, not a mortgage strategy." He laughed through tears, then sobered. "Are you leaving?" "I don't know." That was true. "I need you to understand something," I said. "I will not fund your image anymore. Not one more dinner, trip, suit, membership, gift, renovation, or social performance that makes you feel successful while making me financially responsible for reality." He nodded. "I understand." "No, you hear me. Understanding comes with behavior." He lowered his head. "Okay." I laid out terms. Full financial transparency. Individual therapy for him. Couples counseling only after disclosure was complete. Postnuptial agreement protecting my premarital contribution and assigning responsibility for hidden debts. Separate credit cards. Joint account only for agreed household expenses. No purchase above $500 without discussion. No using fear or scorekeeping to describe record keeping. Public correction, where he had publicly misrepresented contributions. That last one made him look up. "What does that mean?" "It means the next time someone compliments you on the house, you say we built it, and Lauren carried the early weight. You stop standing in my work like it's your suit." He swallowed. "Okay. Start with your brother." He closed his eyes. His brother Aaron had once joked at dinner that I married well. I had smiled. Michael had smiled too. That memory still burned. Michael called Aaron the next day on speaker. Not because I demanded to listen forever. Because this first one mattered. Aaron answered, cheerful. "Big Mike." Michael flinched at the nickname. "Hey, I need to correct something." "Sounds serious." "It is. You've made jokes before about me carrying the lifestyle, or Lauren marrying well. I let that stand because it made me feel good. It wasn't true. Lauren's down payment got us into the house. She's carried more than her share of the mortgage and renovations. I let people think otherwise. That was wrong." Silence. Then Aaron said, "Oh." Michael looked at me. I looked back. Aaron cleared his throat. "I didn't know." "I know. I helped you not know. That was a sentence. A real one. After the call, Michael sat quietly for a long time. How do you feel? I asked. Small. Good. He looked at me. I said, not forever, just accurately. That became our season. Accuracy. It was not romantic. It was not cinematic. It involved spreadsheets, therapy appointments, automatic payments, disclosures, arguments, uncomfortable apologies, and me learning not to rescue him from shame too quickly. Vanessa stayed out of it for 2 months. Then she emailed again. I found more letters. I'm not sending them. I shredded them. I wanted you to know. I replied. Thank you. She wrote, he did this with me too. Not the exact money, but the image. I thought I was the reason he couldn't become who he promised. I see now I was funding belief while he funded appearances. That sentence made me sit back. Funding belief, yes. That was what both of us had done in different currencies. She sent one final email. I'm sorry for mailing the letters. I wanted you to feel second. Really, I felt replaced. That wasn't your fault. I replied. I understand. Do not contact me again, unless there is a practical reason. She respected that. I respected her more for respecting it. The public payoff came 3 months later at Michael's company holiday dinner. I did not want to go, Michael asked once. I said no. Then he said, I think I should correct some things in rooms where I performed them. That was the first reason he gave that made me consider it. The dinner was at a steakhouse private room. 20 people, spouses, managers, clients. The old Michael would have ordered expensive wine immediately and made sure everyone saw the label. This Michael ordered iced tea. Small things can be theatrical too, but I watched. His manager congratulated us on the house renovation after seeing photos online. Michael, that kitchen is unreal, he said. You did well. Michael placed his fork down. We did. Actually, Lauren made that happen. Her bonus paid for most of it, and her planning kept it from going over budget. The table paused, not awkwardly, surprised. His manager smiled at me. Then congratulations to you. I said, thank you. Later, a client's wife complimented our vacation photos. Michael said, Lauren planned those, and for too long I treated them like proof of success instead of shared choices. We're doing less performing these days. That one was maybe too honest for a holiday dinner, but I allowed it. On the drive home, he asked, was that weird? Yes. Bad weird? Necessary weird. He nodded. I can live with that. So could I. Did I stay married to Michael? For now, yes. Not because the mortgage statements fixed everything. They did not. Not because his tears erased the years of imbalance. They did not. Not because Vanessa apologized. That was separate. I stayed because after the exposure, Michael did something he had avoided for years. He stopped defending the image long enough to examine the cost. We signed the postnup. He took responsibility for the hidden credit card debt. He sold his golf club membership. He returned 2 suits. He closed the secret card. He started therapy. He gave me access to all accounts, not as surveillance, but as repair. He also began learning the difference between shame and accountability, which is apparently a very difficult language for charming men. Some days he spoke it badly. Some days I wondered if I was foolish. Some days I still do, so I keep my records. Not because I am planning to leave, because staying without clarity is how women disappear inside beautiful houses. My mother's ledger book sits in my office. The financial binder is updated. The down payment agreement is safe. The postnup is scanned. The love letters are in a sealed envelope at my attorney's office. Not because I care about their romance, but because they are part of the story of how myth money, and manipulation entered my house through the mailbox and left through documentation. The house feels different now. Less shiny, maybe. More honest. The kitchen island no longer feels like a stage. It feels like a table where bills are paid, soup is made, hard conversations happen, and no one gets to say hard work pays off without naming whose work. The final lesson is not that ex-wives are always enemies or husbands with pasts cannot be trusted. People have histories. Love leaves paper sometimes. Old letters exist. Old promises exist. That alone is not betrayal. The betrayal is when a man uses the same dream twice, lets two women measure themselves against it, and hides the fact that neither of them was the problem. The lifestyle was never proof of his growth. It was proof that women kept investing in the man he kept promising to become. My husband's ex sent me their old love letters. I sent her the mortgage statements. And when she tried to show me that my home began as a promise to her, I showed her what the house had actually been built from. Not his letters. Not his captions. Not his performance. My money. My records. My patience. My name on the payments. I did not need to compete with Vanessa. I needed to compare the story to the statements. The statements won. Thank you for staying with me through this story. I know some of you have been made to feel second, like you inherited someone else's dream, someone else's promises, someone else's unfinished man. If Lauren's story reached you, I hope you remember that the person who pays the cost knows the truth, in a way old letters never can. Keep the mortgage statements. Keep the transfer records. Keep the credit card summaries. Keep the ledger. And if someone tries to humiliate you with romance from the past, answer with reality from the present. Subscribe to Ultimate Revenge for more stories about quiet women, family betrayal, marriage drama, silent comebacks, and the moment one stack of statements exposes who really built the life everyone admired. So tell me, if your husband's ex mailed you their old love letters to prove he promised her your life first, would you confront her with emotion? Or would you send the mortgage statements and let the numbers explain who actually paid for the dream?